Welcome to the panel presented by SportChek. I'm Jessica Kent with Jack Michales and Bob Stauffer. We are just coming off of rookie camp, straight into main camp, and it looks like all the rookies made it to camp. 62-player roster. Bob, we'll start with you. What can we see this week?
Well, I mean, there's lots of different storylines. I think the reoccurring theme that we've gotten, certainly being around a little bit with some of the veteran players, is I get a sense of determination and a realization, and I know they want to put last year past them, but you know, the team didn't achieve the goals that they were looking for last year, and there's a different tone at the start of this season to start training camp than there was last year at this time, which I think bodes well.
You know, when I look at this roster, ultimately, Bob and Jess, all the talk, all the, you know, more determined, different tone, it will only matter if it translates on the ice.
Sure.
I don't think any team arrives at camp saying, well, I don't know what kind of season we're going to have. We plan on being mediocre. I mean, I believe that ultimately the players are going to downplay things as we move through camp because they're as eager as anyone to see what the results will be. And this is a results-driven season in terms of talk of contending for this and being better and being grittier. I don't think you'll hear a lot of talk out of this camp. I think what you'll hear is, or what you'll see is more of a steely resolve from the players to make sure there's not a repeat. But there won't be much talk. That's my anticipation. That's the vibe I got after looking at what the players had to say yesterday.
You know, I sensed last year at the start that there was a little bit of a hangover from some of the success that they had the year before. 47 wins, 103 points going 2 rounds of the playoffs. There was talk. We know we have a good team here. You know, there's going to be expectations on us. And my point is, you know, we believe in the players, and there's some real good players here. You can go from being a pretty good team, 8th place overall, to finishing 25th, 26th in a hurry. So I think there was a bit of an epiphany for some of the players, frankly, and that's what I'm sort of referring to, Jack. 100%, hey, we got to see it on the ice, and it's got to translate. But I do sense there's certainly a little bit different focus at the start of this year's training camp than there was last year.
I agree. And just coming off of the presser yesterday, it just seems like there's so much determination from a lot of the players. I know Ty Ratty, Todd McClellan confirmed that he will be starting out on that first lineup with Connor McDavid and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Do you think he can hold that position after preseason?
Yes, I do. I actually don't think that, you know, when I look at the storylines for this year, I mean, for Ratty, it's especially if he's put the work in the offseason.
He said he's never worked this hard over the summer.
He's never had a better opportunity. I mean, I think he said yesterday that there's about 600 guys in the league that would like to be right winger on a line with Connor McDavid or something to that effect. I'm paraphrasing, but to me, there's no surprise there, and there's really not that much of a question out of the gate early in terms of the opportunity he's going to get. One of the things I'm going to look for, Jack, in the preseason, I don't know a lot about Mikko Koskinen at the NHL level. Saw him play a bit during the Olympics, a bit in the World Championships, but he's got 4 games of NHL experience. And the Oilers have, they had to compete. There were other teams provided to give longer term on a deal for Mikko Koskinen, but goaltending is so important, as we all know, and Talbot had such a brilliant start 2 years ago. So for me, that's one of the biggest storylines is we need to see how good Mikko Koskinen is early in the year, and it literally starts right in preseason with the exhibition schedule.
And I'll have a slightly different take again. For me, it's not about whether or
not one of those days, eh?
Well, no. Hey, it's a panel.
Yeah.
It's not about whether Mikko Koskinen will be good at the start of the year. It's whether or not Cam Talbot will be good at the start of the year. Because Cam Talbot has played, if you take a look at the aggregate, he's played 2 of 3 really good campaigns. The problem is the one, if you wanted to remove the one good campaign, it's actually the start of the 15-16 season and the start of the 17-18 season. He was good for all of 16-17 and the back end of both the 15-16 and 17-18 campaigns. But when you put yourself behind the 8 ball in 2 of the 3 years where you don't have a great start to the year, and in fact, Cam Talbot briefly lost some ground to Anders Nielsen his first year in Edmonton, and last year really didn't sort out his game and get it significantly over 900 until the season was 3.5 months old. For me, it's getting Cam Talbot out of the starting blocks and getting him on the kind of track he was for the entire 16-17 season. The other thing about Ty Ratty, what comes to mind, not in terms of his physical appearance or maybe even his skill set, but I remember Patrick Maroon at the end of the 15-16 season saying he is going to be motivated because he knows he's going to get a chance to play with Connor McDavid at the start of 16-17 if he comes to camp in shape and ready to go.
Well, he could be more accurate.
And the result was a 27-goal campaign. I think Ty Ratty went into the offseason with that same mindset. If I'm ready and I get out of the blocks early, I can have a chance to be with Connor McDavid for a number of games at the start of the year. And that, in today's NHL, is as big a motivation as any, a chance to play with a world-class player.
So we have goaltending, special teams, obviously huge, and that's tied directly to goaltending with penalty killing. You need your goalie to be the best penalty killer. Where's the defense at? At what point does Nurse come back? I mean, it's inevitable he will be here. Are we looking at a Jacob Trouba holdout, or is he on the plane with us when we head over to Germany? My expectation is be on the plane with us in Germany. And then secondary scoring. So there's about 3 or 4 storylines that'll play out through training camp in a preseason, and then once we get going to the regular season, it's going to be really intriguing.
Do you think we could see Nurse come in for middle of training camp?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look, in terms of the RFA situation, every situation is different. But what strikes me is, generally speaking, the actual amount separation is often much smaller than when you get in a unrestricted free agent type of scenario. In other words, what the player's looking for, what the team's looking for, usually the gap is tight enough where it can be bridged. I expect Darnell Nurse to be on the plane along with Bob and hopefully yours truly, on the plane to Germany. And the key for me, in addition to that, is whether or not Darnell Nurse is in camp or whether he gets there in the first week or the second week. Someone's got to come up and grab a third pairing position. Bob, I think you'd agree with me. There's a collection of players that have an opportunity to do that. And quite frankly, the age range on that collection of players is fairly significant. You got a guy all the way like Evan Bouchard, 10th overall pick at this summer's draft, to a veteran like Jason Garrison, who's been through the grind of not only NHL, AHL campaigns. So there's a wide gamut there, and I think someone's got to step up and grab a position and prove that he can play 15, 16, 17 minutes on NHL opening night.
Lots to transpire this week. Bob, Jack, thank you so much, and keep it locked on EdmontonOilers.com for all your camp coverage.